Hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy New Year and happy 2026. This feels monumental to me. Moving into this new one cycle of the universal year, but it feels much greater than that. It feels like entering into an entirely new era, and this is just the beginning. And I sat down to record this, and I thought, what a beautiful way to spend today recording this on New Year's Eve and have this published on the first of the first 111 triple one. So I no doubt you'll be receiving this sometime in and around maybe on your New Year's Eve or your New Year's Day or in the first week of January. And I really just I'm completely unscripted. I normally come in with notes of things that I want to discuss, and I don't have a lot for you. I was told to literally sit here and to bring just energy and presence and conversation and connection through through the monitor, through the screen, but the frequency of shared connection, because I really believe that 2026 is really much more of a interconnected space and awareness of people coming together in all different ways, in the physical, online connection, divine partnership. It feels like it's charging forward and creating the space for that. Even if it's not showing up immediately in the physical reality, we're aligning with that reality, what I've been calling the new harmonic reality, which is an entirely different era. And does that mean that on the 1st of January, boom, we're in it? No, it doesn't. We have been morphing into it slowly for a number of weeks and months. That this high wave has been just like almost microdosing into reality, and it's phasing in. And it was quite incredible. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who was visiting last week, and I think what she shared with me was really quite profound. And yes, we have a visitor. We have a visitor here. We have Parky P wishing everyone a happy 2026. Hey, boy. Hey, you're being shy now. You want to say hello? Here we go. He's going to sit here with me as we move through this video. So going back to what I was saying, I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, and she happened to mention that she had been seeing a lot of apparition experiences happening more regularly occurring than ever before. And when I questioned that, I said to her, was that like shadow beings, when you see in the periphery of your vision and you see something move, like a shadow move, essentially, or it looks like a shadow, and sort of a gray or darker gray sort of movement in the corner of your eye. And she went, no. I'm like, oh, I think, because we were determining what's fourth, lower astral, that type of thing. And she looked at me and she went, no, this is light and like sparkly. And as soon as she said that, I was like, that's the new reality coming in. And I get chills as I say that. That if I think back, really, I think I've had a handful of those experiences or a taste of those in waves, probably since the middle, going back to June or July of 2023, and then it kind of paused for a bit. But then it's like we're getting drip fed this high octane frequency that's coming through, that's permeating within ourselves, within our body, within our reality. And then it permeates in the locality of our reality. And I think that's our responsibility, is to access that, work with that, and make that become a permanent baseline for the new experience. And the more we are in that and embodied in that, the more it kind of rubs off on others, perhaps, or it ejects others. I guess it can do one or two of the same. It can, people open and receptive to that. It can make them become more in tune and in resonance with that reality. And for others who just aren't ready yet, it will create friction. It will create a separation. And I think that's the other part or the other side that I've been really acutely aware of. And I noticed it's kind of a theme every November in like, that tipping over from one year into the next sort of starts at the end of November and then it kind of gets really pronounced in December because there's like a lot of um, disparity between dark and light, sort of creating that friction to kind of allow us to kind of boom into a next frequency bandwidth, if you will. And so the being able to observe the bigger or the wider gap between people's realities and really becomes highlighted in December and January. It's like those that are like assimilating into that next space. And this has been happening for a few years, but now it feels like it's very, very pronounced. So you may have noticed that, the festive season can be really challenging when we're interfacing with, families and people of different belief systems or vibrational bandwidths. There's a lot of stress and pressure around that time. But for me, I experienced it completely different this year, which I think is a huge marker point. And I'm not the only one who had mentioned that they felt something really different on Christmas. It was like, it was peaceful, it was joyful, it kind of had the essence of less consumerism and more about just the coming together of people who love each other. And that was really beautiful to see of like, oh, I think we really are moving into new terrain now. It's 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 um it's noticeable, and then it has those highlighted moments of quite exacerbated density, and then it sort of like calms down. And what I noticed was um, in the lead up from sort of early December up until solstice, there was a huge amount of what I call energetic bleed through coming from the other realms. And I mentioned this, I think, in some of the other videos that I've done. If you haven't seen the one that I did with Ahara, I highly recommend to watch that because I went into detail with a lot of experiences that I won't share here. So it was the last video that I published just a few days ago before this one. But also when I spoke to Todd last, it felt like there were days or weeks or periods of time where there was like walking through the astral, like it wasn't physical, but I could feel this dense whiplash or backlash type energies where I hadn't felt that in a long time, but it didn't feel directed at me. I was just aware of it and I knew it was bleed through, and I was told just kind of navigate your way through this until solstice, and then it will start to subside, which I do feel there was a lot of shifting that happened after we hit solstice and like the 3-eye atlas period. There was a lot of shake-up of dense energies like kind of leaving the planet, and since then there's been a heavy level fatigue. So what I have witnessed, or I believe is occurring, I've had some interesting insights and experiences just before solstice, literally the day before solstice. I was meditating, doing my daily practice, and I had this being show up, looked like a snake being. I've had a lot of snake symbology as we're, closing out the year of the snake and moving into the horse, the year of the horse, the fire horse, or the red horse. And that has such a like night and day feel to it. So, the shedding to the vibrancy and the creative, expression moving forward. Anyway, I had this snake literally show up right in my in high definition color, like right in front of me. And I couldn't get him to sort of speak. It was like I knew that there was a message that was coming through. I wasn't alarmed. I wasn't, wasn't like, oh, it felt like a neutral energy that was kind of a messenger. But it took me 24 hours to kind of, go on the journey to show me what it was that I was witnessing. Um, I actually had no intention of sharing this, but anyway, here we are. So, I am in the process of writing a manuscript, a document that I anticipate will be out in this year of 2016, and this is going to be one of the chapters. So keep an eye out for that. But this is what I believe, or I know, is intel that was shown to me that's happening and occurring in real time. And I think I'm sure that many of you are tapping in. You're so intuitive. So it might be a confirmation or validation for things that maybe you've had inklings of, or had meditation journeys or dream space that might give you more context around it. And I highly encourage you all to share in the comments section, that or other experiences, because we are a tribe. We're connected via frequency, via soul group. That's why we orient to one another into this channel as a portal itself, as the cosmic gateway, because we all have critical pieces of the puzzle. And the more we share that, the more we give voice and understanding and recognition and validation to what we're all moving or traversing through. So I feel it's really important from that vantage point. So I appreciate you, those that do share and comment, not just here on YouTube, but all the platforms. So with a little bit of support from my soul brother, I sat down in meditation because I felt like I had too much energy buzzing around in my field that I couldn't get a clear channel. And eventually when we did, I just had someone to hold the space for me and sort of bounce off. So thank you, Jed. And as that happened, this whole scenario opened where this snake being said to me, I have something to show you. You're going to want to see this. There's negotiations taking place. There is tribunals taking place. And this has not been in my wheelhouse at all. It's not been something I've been focusing on. And as you've probably heard me mention many, many times, if something falls in my lap, information falls in my lap like this, I pay attention. If I'm seeking it, then I can maybe have my own biases in the forefront of it. So I try to keep myself as neutral as possible and as clear a channel as possible. So basically what occurred was this being took me to what would be considered the universal law courts of sorts. And I was shown many different beings that were on trial and tribunal, some that I have know who have a physical form down here, but didn't look like their human self. It was very much a soul-based tribunal. And there were many, what I would call the figureheads of the darker part of the malevolent creation of nature that has been influencing reality itself, especially here on Earth, but also universally. This wasn't just limited to the locality of Earth. This was far greater than that. And it takes in the enormity of not just this present time, but in the entire creation cycle of this experience. So what I would call the soul lineage of, from this point back, of what has taken place or transpired since darkness fell into the cycle of creation and destruction. So going back to maybe not just even Atlantis or Lemuria, but going back into the cosmic wars, Orion wars, Lyra, those type of times, and how it's all being cleaned up, and the words that I'm getting is the fair trial is taking place to reconcile what has been done to balance the scales. And what I was seeing it happening horizontally and vertically, So what I mean by that is um, horizontally in the sense of the progression of time from the beginning until now, and vertically the dimensional levels that has taken place, not just on this realm or this kind of 3D, it's like in the higher levels too. So it's like collapsing or bringing into a unification like this. Um, and so it was really fascinating to witness that and the figureheads of being kind of dealt with. And this is something that I have talked about for many, many years is like people who want retribution for you know, the horrific things that have been done to humanity. Yeah, I think it we need to come to that point, but we also need to come to a point or a level of forgiveness as well, um, to see things through neutralize so that we can actually move forward, because we don't necessarily move forward with holding those huge levels of judgment and grievances. And that's for ourselves. But I do believe that in the miscarriage of adjustment that has been done to individuals or as a collective, I think that gets dealt with. And that's what I was witnessing is what I would call the higher courts, the higher universal courts. There's councils upon councils that are well equipped to make decisions and deal with it. And it's like on this planetary body, yes, there are individuals and groups that have done horrendous things to keep us in a lower level consciousness and to siphon energies and all those things, keep us in the mind matrix, if you will. But we also have to look at how that creates a huge leap in evolution and soul growth as we unravel from that. It wouldn't be possible without that, I don't believe. And leaving it to, wiping our hands of like doing what we can and not, and trusting that the things that we don't have control over get taken care of. And that's like the mantra that has come through to me for the last month. Anytime something has triggered me or unraveled me or unnerved me for whatever reason, just consuming information or things that may have taken place, I keep hearing my higher self just reiterate, I believe in the benevolence and the higher power of the universe. And it almost shifts my focal point at that moment. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. And so I believe that these tribunals are taking place in real time. I think this is an ongoing thing. And it speaks to what I've said all along is like, if we take out an individual or, let's say a person who's responsible for you know, um, the mistreating of, let's say, children or, horrendous things, um, genocides, even like we're talking horrendous atrocities. You take that person out of the game, however that looks, whether it's imprisonment or, if they're taken out from this life, it's an energy that's working through them. That energy will find another host. It has to be addressed on the energetic level to have a proper cleanup. And that's what I believe is actually happening with these tribunals, is this weighing of the scales. It was shown to me a bit like the Egyptian concept of weighing the scales of the heart and the feather, the soul and the feather. And the reason or the purpose for that was because we're moving into this new reality, this new harmonic version of reality that is slowly dripping through. Those that have the fine-tuned frequency or antenna that have access to it are embodying it, incorporating it, accessing it, utilizing it, working with it, until eventually it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be the living, breathing experience that we've been working so hard towards. And I think right now it's sorry, it's like a drip through or drip feeding experience. Sorry, one sec. But from what I was shown last night, and I'll get into that, it's about to go into an accelerated mode as we move into 2026. And that will be 2026 is a marking of living in that and beyond. So we've got this year to really work and embody and play in that and start the rebuilding process. So that's where it comes down to the individual. Like, yes, I'm talking about figureheads or embodiment of archetypes of figureheads that are maybe seen as more malevolent beings. But it comes down to the individual because we've all had many, many experiences along our soul's journey. Of playing in the dark and the light, and we're coming into this point of being able to unify that so that we can be clean and walking into the new reality untainted is the emphasis and the highlight of that is that we can still retain memory and wisdom from what has come before, but not the trauma imprints. We can't risk the tainting a new creation that is being built by versions of ourselves and others that have transitioned with the old. Old programs of thought processes or old behaviors, trauma responses. And this is what was sort of coming through as I was pondering on all this prior to recording was 2026 to me represents fully stepping out of the matrix for individuals who are ready to be in the organic nature of reality and expression and still simultaneously cohabitating with those that are in it. So that's a level of mastery. And so you want to be if you're walking and embodying a version of the organic expression of reality, you want to be not operating from old behaviors that perpetuate victimhood or lack or scarcity, because we're moving into a space of very, very quick manifestation that doesn't make any judgments if it's good or bad. It just creates. So I'll come back into that because that was part of the download from my dream just this morning. But I feel like as a collective, we're probably going to still be moving through some very rocky and challenging. And like for those that aren't, and even for us who've been on the journey for a long time, maybe there'll be some surprises along the way. But it's a time to not go up in arms, but to be in a heart-centered space, to hold almost this transition phase steady as we move through it. And it reminds me, I was once again having a conversation with a friend of mine just recently, and I may have shared this. I feel like I've shared this on an interview, but maybe not so much on an update. This happened literally just before I started to experience the new frequency start to come through, which was in 2023. And I had several occurrences happen in a sequence over a period of one evening, which I kind of I joke about and try to bring a lightheartedness to it, where I was having this dialogue with the devil, and in a way that it was very real, but it was very educational. It was very purposeful. There was no fear around it. But literally, this sequence of events every night I went to bed, I'm just falling asleep, and then this very stereotypical apparition of devil, red devil, appears to me. Says, I need to tell you something. So it first started off talking about, it was very personal information for me and around my family lineage, and like literally showing me how the hijacking of the bloodline had occurred specifically in my family, what years had taken place, right down to like the incidences of what had occurred and what had happened. And it was through, greed of wealth or wanting to progress, and doing ceremonies and rituals and not understanding the full gravity of what was taking place. And he was showing me, I literally got summoned out of my realm into this realm, and I've been attached to your family lineage for a century, like over a century. And it was like, whoa. And it was like, yeah, this happened. These people weren't aware of what they were doing at the time. Their intention was to like, was a relatively pure of thought, but the facilitators may have had more of an understanding what was taking place. So there was an innocence to it, but there was a deep, deep lesson that is, being inherently in these patterns, of one side of my family in particular for a long time. And it was like showing me, you now, with this information, you have the tools to clean it up. Go forth so you can, do what you need to do. And I feel like as I speak about that, I'm not alone in that. I think we all we have those things in our family lineage. And often what I see through my work and through my sessions is, if there is some sort of corruption that occurs in the ancestral bloodline or even in our soul lineage, it is another version of ourselves. So we were there so that we know how to come back and correct it. We're time travelers, essentially. But anyway, this dialogue continued, and he said to me, we got talking more about global sort of, politics and all sorts of different conversational topics. And I just remember these words still ringing in my ear. And he said to me, there will be a time that will come that humanity will have to learn to forgive so that they can move forward. And even in the highest levels of the most horrific war crimes, essentially, to go through the process of outrage and anger and, rage and, all have to process through the human, but you have to get to a level of forgiveness. Otherwise, you're carrying that, and you can't fully move through into the ascended version of self, and humanity will have to pass through that as a collective, and that will be one of the greatest tests. And for some reason, this has been in my in my energy field and in my thoughts for the last week or so. So I don't know how that connects or correlates to what may be occurring on collective scale, but maybe it's for now, maybe it's park it for later. But it's like, I think those of us who've been through the hardship of betrayal and life experience, and then come into a place of forgiveness, we have an important role to play for so many that maybe aren't and going to struggle to get into that place. So yeah, the new harmonic reality is coming in, but the sludge and what's being pulled up is also, highlighted at this point. And it was interesting when I had that visitation, snake being, and shown the tribunals and all that. I had the inquiry of like, why is there so much astral debris? Why is there so much entity attachment? Kind of quote unquote psychic attack, like just fullness in the energetics at times. And I was shown like there is an evacuation that's taking place now. Like there is deadlines of evacuation that the minions, so to speak, of these heads that are on trial have been told they have to leave the planet in their entirety, and creating a lot of havoc on their way out, or some of them are. Um, and I was being shown like all these trapped beings that may have been trapped for, yeah, a long time. Just going back to that story of that devil being that he was like, someone did a ritual and kind of cast me from my realm into this, and then I was stuck. I feel like a lot of these beings that have created havoc may, I think there's different agendas for all of them, but I think there's a lot of them that have just been stuck in a realm that's not their own. And I think there's that cleanup that's occurring is quite profound. So it's like being able to navigate in the highest perspective, and being the best way to navigate that is our daily energetic hygiene practice, being clear, and just being observant of it and staying in our heart space and our center is the best remedy for that. So, my God, there's so much, and now it's all like kind of flowing. So, the other things that I want to talk about and discuss. So, as we kind of change tunes and change it up for a second, I think I just want to take a moment, first of all, to acknowledge and thank each and every one of you who's watching this, who tunes in regularly, or new subscribers, new viewers. Thank you all for being here and showing your support in the ways that you do. It makes it possible for me to come on, every month and do these updates and share the insights and the knowledge that I get. And I'm so glad that the feedback that I get, that it's helpful for you, because, we're living through quite unprecedented times, and we need to normalize what hasn't been so normal, until now. So thank you. But also a huge expression of thanks and gratitude for my clients, for those who come and see me, for those who come and seek support, to do individual sessions, to do the group work, the containers, and thank you for the people who donate and support the channel in that way and capacity. Like, I truly appreciate each and every one of you and the support that you give, even if it's through your goodwill and intention or comments. Like, I'm so grateful, and all that helps to continue to support my work ongoing. And I think the reason that comes to mind is, well, just to, maybe I don't say it enough, but to thank you for the clients that come and see me. And just, I think it's been a reflection piece, because I'm now moving into the 9th year of Cosmic Gateway. Cosmic Gateway was birthed and born in a universal 1 year. And so now I feel like I'm on the precipice of bringing through yet another creation that's very dear to my heart, in collaboration with Cosmic Gateway. And I think it's just this reflection piece of what this last 9 years has brought me, through my work, through connecting with all of you, and just reflecting on all the amazing people that I've had the privilege of speaking and exchanging energy with and supporting throughout this 9 year cycle. It's been life-changing to get to know and connect with the people who have come and seen me personally. And I look forward to connecting with more of you through this year. So I want to get to talking about the creational energy of 2026, because it feels so potent and so ripe. It's powerful. And for those that have wanted to get things up and off the ground, and I know a lot of you, because I speak to you individually, and I know that's a theme, especially in the last maybe 2 years. Those that want to step into your creation, your new vocation, being self-sufficient, creating your own thing, stepping away from, being, employed to being self-employed. It's a big leap, it's a big step, but I do believe that the energies that are coming through this year really helping support that. So I look forward to, I haven't quite understood it in my mind yet, but I'm in the process of how can I help best facilitate for that group of people and to support that. But what I am bringing through as a new offering and service is the 2026 activation and alignment session. So this is a process of being able to clear out from the previous cycle or cycles what is in your body, in your energy field, and bringing through the specific frequency for you for this year for you to start to connect with, to understand, to interpret, to embody. So we work within the infusion of that. So it's quite a powerful process. I've been doing it for myself over many years, but it's kind of now been formalized into a session or a practice, and it's powerful to work with because I think if we get that access to that and we've got something that we can work with as a regular practice or daily practice, that's what's helping us move into this alignment and to really make the most out of this potent and right energy. So the details for that will be in the description box below. The other thing I'm offering is a group online soul activation for the 11th of January. So the 1111. So it's an 1111. That'll be on Sunday, the 11th at 7 p.m. Melbourne Eastern Standard Time, and the details will be in the description box below if you want to join the group activation. I'm looking forward to hosting that. There will be another Skywatch event later in January. I haven't got the details yet, but keep an eye out on the socials, and I will put that up probably for the last week of January. So I want to come back into this creational space. I've been having dreams about the energy of 2026, I reckon, for at least 18 months or longer. To me, it has this fiery kind of red or that burnt orange frequency that's like pure creational energy that wants to manifest really rapidly and like rapid fire, fast paced, like really. But it's a consciousness that's coming through with this new era, when new harmonic. And it's like that feels like the essence of what is bridging non-physical into physical reality. And I remember having dreams about it the second half of last year, and it was like I could literally see this downpouring of that energy, and I didn't know or understand what it was, but it would come through my body, and then I would put my hands on the keyboard, and I would start to write something, or I would start to create something, and the creations that were coming through were just otherworldly, just profound in. You know, when you want to create something, you have an idea in your mind and then you try and put it on paper and it's not quite, it doesn't quite, this was like hitting the mark in exponential ways. And I feel like that's the energy of this year. So what I was getting as I sat down to meditate was like, pace yourself and stabilize this, because technically, astrologically wise, the new year doesn't really kick in until we get into like the end of March, so there's this period of integration to really stabilize a new year frequency and to be gentle with yourself, because I think that's the most important thing. There's so much happening on a cellular recalibrating level that we need to really honor the biological process of this metamorphosis that's occurring. But it's like making the adjustments, or at least this is what has been my main focus, is making the adjustments necessary to implement the new strategy or the new daily practice or routine so that it becomes the new normal in achievable ways. Not like setting out like, oh, it's a New Year's resolution. No, it's not that at all. It's like we're in putting our training wheels in and being able to give the days of grace where we know our body's trying to catch up. Because it's like, what I've been noticing is there might be 1 or 2 days of like very high energy, influx of creativity, getting a lot of stuff done. And then there's a day of like, I just need to rest. And it's like the mind wants to fight that. It's like, no, I've got all these things to do. I can't just, lay here and do nothing. But the body just won't move in the ways that it needs to. And then I find that those days that feel uncomfortable, that's the releasing that's taking place as we become more embodied. And what I know about energy and frequency of when it wants to come into creation itself is often we get hit with an energy and an activation and a download, a vision. It all comes in hand in hand. And it comes through a very heightened experience. It might be a dream or it might be an experience, often through, connections or, for some it could be, through meditation. I mean, there's various ways. Once we get hit with that download of the creation of where we're heading to or what's coming up in the future, that's just the beginning. What occurs from there is like we could then go to sort of move forward into that with the gusto and the excitement, but we're operating in quantumly a higher timeline or higher frequency that's not sustainable in that moment for our physical vessel or our consciousness. It's like we've been given a taste tester of like a energy embodiment of maybe a future self that's like dropped in for a period of time so that we can start to attune to that and get the visuals of where we're heading, what we're creating, what we're moving into. Then what comes is that template is activated within us. There's a remembrance. And then the process of attuning and clearing what's not in alignment that has been residing within us starts to surface. And that's where we need the hand holding and the support, because that's when we feel like we've dropped our frequency, which in actual fact, yes, we've gone back to a baseline of where we were so that we can walk, incrementally towards getting into that space that we've been given a taste of. And that is because the frequency that's coming through for the creation is an extension of us. We have to be in the embodiment of that frequency of whatever we're putting out into the world. And if we've got distortions and traumas and stuff, as we put a creation out, whatever that is, it's going to have the encoding of what we're holding. And so that's why it's so important to be clearing up and refining ourselves to the best of our ability. So the reason I want to bring that up, and that's just my observation of many years of that's how creation comes about. And then once we've refined ourselves, then we have this momentum where we can construct in the physical or things just manifest. But there is this lag period in between where we're kind of acclimatizing, if you will, refining ourselves to that. And that lag time is like the gap is closing. And so what I feel like we've been moving through it, especially in the last year, maybe even the last couple of years, is that refinement process. Like we've had a taste of what's to come. And now we're like been walking through the preparation of releasing the layers and what isn't in alignment with that, so we can get to this point now of where we're heading into 2026 and beyond. So it's powerful, it's really, really powerful times. And last night I had a really profound dream. I always ask before I sit down to do a video, please give me a dream that gives me an indication of the energy um, theme of where we're at so that I can share that with you. And literally last night, I had this experience of my entire body, right down to the cell, like the cellular level, like right down into the atom particles, almost being taken like apart and then put back together again. And like this expansion, contraction, sort of pixelating, restructuring. And oh, yeah, I can feel it now. And it felt as like I was being pulled or picked apart and put back together again. And the words that came to me in that is, you're literally being reconstructed in the new frequency. Your physical body and biology is being restructured in the new physicality. And I believe that that is what's happening in real time, and will be ongoing. Like it's like this new reality that we're morphing into. And as I woke up, the summary from all that I dreamt about the night before basically was saying to me, you're entering into a space now where the gap that I was talking about, the gap is closing. So manifestation is almost instantaneous, and it doesn't differentiate between good or bad. So you really need to keep your focus on your thoughts and your thoughts and your emotional mastery in alignment with what you're focused on creating, because that's the accelerated times that we're moving into, which is so exciting. But it's also like, whoa, I need to make sure that I've, working in that practice of self-care and downtime, and keeping my eye on the prize essentially of what I'm working or moving towards. So I felt like I really wanted to share that. I feel like that message is, the universal, global, and everyone's at different paces, but especially for those who are raring at the gate to move into it. That's kind of the phase that we're moving into. What was incredibly validating was after waking up from that dream experience and the messages that came through with it, I had two voice messages from two separate soul sisters from different parts of the world that shared with me basically similar a dream experience that that we'd all had within 24 hours of each other. And we hadn't even, it's not something that we'd been talking about or discussing. It all happened, yeah, organically. And then we felt prompted to share with one another, obviously for good reason. So I know that it's not just a me thing. I know it's happening more, and I'm sure many of you that are watching may have had or may be having something similar. So the final thing that I want to share is like yelling in my ear, is that there is a lot of contracts and agreements from the old cycle. So, maybe relationships that are ending or have ended, at least energetically, that are still holding on in the physical. And that can be, romantic or friendships or partnerships or like work-based, family, all those sorts of things. There's a lot that is expiring. And it could just be the old version of, but it could be, your soul wants you to leap into this new expression. There's a lot in terms of energy cords and implants and things like that that are still quite active in the field, even though they have come into it at like a linearly an expiry date. And that's what's keeping some people attached to the old version of reality and not being able to spread their wings fully in the ways that they would want to, feeling that tether or tie. Um, and and so that's kind of what flew in as I was sitting down to record. I kind of had this message come in to make mention of that. So it's like, especially in the first few weeks of January, or even in the first few months of the year, just really being able to, if you know that you're being primed or repositioned for a different experience than what you're having, dedicate the time to doing the inner work and the meditation, the energy clearing, whether it's on by yourself or seeking someone like myself to support you. We're in this preparation time, I believe, between like January through to March. And that will really set the tone of not only this year, but the years to come as we're moving through some really, really powerful and monumental times. I don't need to tell you that. You're probably already feeling it yourself. So I think that's it for now. Obviously there was a lot to share that I didn't anticipate. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that's relevant. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. One last thing. The changes that are happening, the restructuring of the body. I've been guided to go to bed half an hour before I'm planning to go to sleep, just to meditate and to visualize myself in this new harmonic structure, kind of like diamond shape, and infusing this new light and energy encoding into my body. And it's being quite powerful. And like really focusing on parts of my body that need the support. And I literally woke up yesterday after doing it for the first time. I'm like, geez, that was like some next level stuff. The parts of my body that needed the extra support had literally like morphed into the best version of them. It didn't stick, and like I have to keep working today. Maybe I didn't do it as much last night, and so today is like kind of an in-between day. But wow, like it was like night and day after I did that first dose. And what it reminded me of was, about over 10 years ago now, I was leading into a significant birthday at the time, and I had been feeling not great about myself. I'd gained a lot of, sort of, unhappy weight. When you're like going through a depression or you're unhappy in your situation, you just kind of eat your feelings. um, I have been notorious for that over the years. It's kind of one of my patterns that I'm kicking or have kicked. Anyway, that all aside, I was kind of at my heaviest that I'd been. I was feeling very unmotivated, dissatisfied in many areas of my life, and it was showing in my physical body. And as I was coming up to this significant birthday, I was really focused on changing my life in all aspects and areas, like for the better. And I had this thought, it's like my higher self came in and said, okay, you've got a couple of months. What if you wake up every morning and spend 5 minutes visualizing yourself waking up on your birthday in the optimum health, happiness, vitality, weight, whatever. And you work with that quantum potential and bring it into your reality. So I was like, oh, and give that a go. So I did that. And I kid you not, without really changing anything else, like I didn't up my exercise, I didn't really change my eating all that much. It was more just the focus on the intention, the feeling, the visualization, like really morphing my mind and tapping into that quantum potential and merging with my physical reality in the present moment. I lost like 15 kilos in like a very short space of time, and I literally woke up on my birthday in the best physical. It wasn't just the weight thing, it was like feeling good, looking good, like everything about my life had completely changed. So I know the power of the mind the intention, the emotional state, and how we can completely revolutionize parts of our life. And the reason I share that is it's kind of, I was given that as a reference point, not so much around weight per se, but like health, wellness, vitality, new reality, essentially. And so adding so many more components into that process. And there is something really potent and powerful of doing those practices right before we go to bed and right as we're waking up in the morning, that window period, even if it's 5-10 minutes before and after, if you can put in your practices around that time, that gives it a like a supercharged potency. And if you stay consistent with that, your life will significantly change. So I'm going to leave that with you, and we're going to move into the intuitive insight. Sorry, I feel like I've got many voices going on in my head at the moment. It's like the cards are already talking. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you. I'm wishing you all beautiful blessings for January of 2026. I would love to connect with you. If you'd like to connect with me one-on-one or for the group activation, all the details will be in the description box below. And let's get into the next part of the video. Well, this is going to be a little different. I was just tuning into the energies. So this will be for artwork A. And just trying to remember, I'm just going to bring, yeah, there we go. So as I was painting this one, what was coming through was like strength in solidarity, like unification, solidarity, like, you know, two individuals unifying in I don't, yeah, becoming solid in form, in frequency, in connected, or like it has a sort of a quantum entanglement type feel of it. It's like they may be separate locations, they may not be in contact, but they have this frequency that is complementary, not identical, but in complementary parts. And it's like unifying in solidarity. That was just the words that kept coming in. It's like coming together and unifying in like maybe separate locations or forms, but just having that knowing, high recognition, or knowing that their blended energies or frequency are supporting one another. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So that's, but it was interesting. I was hearing as I was coming into this, the frequency, your frequency to work with for this month, or maybe even ongoing, but specifically for this month is blue, like electric blue, almost lightning bolt blue. Working with that frequency via meditation or visualization, or yeah, bringing it through is going to help support you in what you need to do, whatever that is. But what I love about this is if you look at these are the shapes that I've been given as like parts of how our biology or our energy field is restructuring into the new reality. It's taking this frequency of the 4 and coming into form is what I've been told. Is like when it was like the 3, the Trinity, that was more the energetic structure of the template, but bringing the 4 brings it into solidarity and bringing it into form. So if you look at, let's say the diamonds represented people, embodiment of people coming into form, there's the busyness of the pixelated experience happening under here is like the, let's say the matrix coding, but up the top is clear, pristine. And you probably can't see this, but there's an iridescent stream that is overlay over the silver, which represents the new frequency of the new reality coming through. So it's having the embodiment of being able to bring it in, or have the upper part of you being able to open to receive it, and then bring it through, and around here is being untouched by the chaotic, well, yeah, the mess, or the matrix coding, if you will, being able to be in this world of, or being in, what's that saying? How's that saying go? Being of this world, in this world, but not of it, that type of thing. But having all your pieces complete is what it feels like in this. If I just purely go by the energy read of it. Um, yeah, the cleanup time is almost completed for you. You know what it is that you need to do. You know the moves and strategies you need to take. Be aware of how your body is communicating and expressing to you, because there's a lot of energetic cords that still have influence that are dissolving, but they do need your attention. And in particular, through the top part of the back, like I'm feeling it around the back of the heart, like that center point, the chest area, up through the back of the neck, the throat area, like that area feels quite suppressed and concentrated, or at least it has been, and it's trying to be overwritten, but it needs your attention and support. And that's a priority to work on as you're receiving your insights and inspiration for the new year and beyond. Mm. And just posing the question is there attachments, other energy attachments that it may be courted or may have been courted in the past through experiences or other people you've shared, maybe like cohabitated with, or relationships. It's like there may be echoes of that still influence your decision making, um, that you don't necessarily put yourself first because you've been programmed otherwise. Could be parents too, but it's like, be aware of that, and really hit that on the head to support the up leveling movement that's upon you right now. Mm, yeah. And now I'm just seeing like this, I guess it could be like a snake that is literally transforming, and it's like these threads like that, and then it's changing form into a wheel or a spiral, and it's coming in, and it's kind of pressing or popping through that breakthrough, yeah, breakthrough energy. Mm, yeah, okay. Let's get into the cards and see what story wants to be told. I'm using a couple of decks here. The Thoth Tarot, the Millennium Thoth Tarot, the ET Experience Oracle deck, and the Intuit Oracle. So let's see what wants to come through. Oh, oh. We've got the Prince of Swords. Oof. That feels like a fast, no nonsense movement. The Four of Pentacles, building solid foundations. Mm. Yeah, building it out in the physical world. we've got the Princess of Swords. So we've got the counterpart energy here, or the complementary parts. But the Devil. How interesting. I didn't even think there was a devil card in this deck. How fascinating is that? I looked, because you know how some tarot decks, they change the original cards and they give it a different name for some of them. This has to be a timeline glitch. This is wild because I remember specifically looking at this deck going, there's a lust card in there, right? And I remember specifically going, oh, they changed the devil to the lust card. I don't believe I've ever seen the devil card in this deck ever. Okay. We're definitely in a new reality timeline here. And maybe this is a message for you. Maybe no, not so much. We'll get into the interpretation, but maybe you are literally jumping at like a very distinct, noticeable timeline, a reality shift that's taking place in your life out of like the devil inverted experience. And like, I feel like there's a story at play here. Yeah. Story at play. Can't get over that. You're gonna have to read backwards starting from okay, there's no others that want to come out just in this moment. So we're going to start with that. We've got the so just reading the numer it's 15 XV 15 6. Interesting. Moving out of a devilish situation, moving out of it may be moving out of a controlled situation. We've got the wings, the sun, the snake. Oh my God, the snakes keep popping up. I even had a dream about a week ago. In the dream, someone had sent me a text message and there were two snakes intertwining. What color were they? Blue and green. Yeah, we've got the man, the horn, but it feels like it's a circumstance or situation that has been part of a deep transformative initiation of previous years that entailed many people. Oh my God, there's so much. I'm going to show the card itself. So you can see the two spheres, and that feels like the lower level realm. It almost feels like the energy that's been operating the people around you to create manipulation that you now see through. You're not under the mind spell of that, where perhaps you were previously. It's like the spell has been broken, or the mind matrix of manipulation, the veil is dropped, and you're not a victim to that anymore. You're not a you're not a participant of that charade anymore, and you're kind of reclaiming or taking back your power. And going back to what I was talking about, the dialogue with the devil. This is an Aria story that I shared in the energy update. I think one of the most powerful things that you can come into your power with is forgiveness of self and others through that experience. Takes your power back, or it's a part of the process in reclaiming your strength and power. And the reason I keep talking about that is like there's that sphere of that color that I was talking about that represents the new. There we go. See that orange, that burnt orange with a bit of gold sitting right in the center of the solar plexus, the power center. That's the color I see for the new year. So it's like you have it in you. And you're just, on that precipice of breaking free and transforming your reality. But it's like, see the hands are tied behind the back. It's like breaking that chain. I just keep hearing like the spell's broken or the contract's ended. It's like whatever's been playing out, even if it's minute or undercurrents of it, or it could be bigger than that. It's like going to be different for everyone. It's like it's come to a close, it's come to an end. And it's like all it needed was you to see through the cracks of the illusion to make that change. And it kind of like the whole thing just kind of drops away. So we've got the Princess of Swords. So this maybe some backlash. It may be some. She looks really unhappy and she looks quite spiteful. Or maybe it's the tenacity of like the like this is not good enough sort of. She's got the wings on, she's got the dress, she's barefoot, and that no nonsense, like cutting through. It feels like words or dialogue or conversations need to be had. The hard conversations, perhaps, whether that's with yourself or with others or another, to cut through the nonsense. And being well equipped for that. And maybe it's like in previous expressions or iterations of yourself, you've kind of caved or fallen into like harsh words or things like that. But it's like it's not having the same effect or impact because this feels like your energy in the Prince of Swords. It's like the no nonsense, I'm moving forward in that. Like I've got my wheels. I've got this vehicle that is charging me forward. I have this benevolent sort of cherub angelic children-like energy that's like charging me forward. And it's like this precision of like I know my destination, I know where I'm heading, I know what I'm doing, and nothing's going to get in my way. Like that charging, that level of charging forward is how it feels to me. um Interesting, in the center here we've got that diamond shape. Look, literally the same as the picture that I painted in the middle there. This card also always reminds me of like cherub children or spirit children that are guiding you, like maybe children that haven't yet incarnated or ones that haven't made the physical realm yet or won't this time around, kind of leading the charge as guides to kind of get you to the space where you need to be. Or it could just be aspects of your own inner child, guiding you, leading you out of uh, the duller lit space. And then we've got the four of Pentacles, which is building that solid foundation, new home, new stability, new like everything in order, but building this home, this life from ground up, having all the resources and the tools to bring it into manifestation and into reality. And look, we've got the triangles that create the two triangle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at the top there. And then we've got the sun and what zodiac sign is that? Scorpio, I think. Give me a second. I feel like that might be, what is it? Four of Pentacles. I just want to, oh, Capricorn. Okay, yeah. How fitting. So we've got the sun and the Capricorn symbol in this. So literally we've got sun and Capricorn right now. So this is your nod to building your dreams, to building your future. Even if it's in the etheric initially, and then by the end of this season, you start to have it manifest in the physical. That's what feels like is taking place right now for you. Mm. Lyra. Oh, there's a whole story that wants to come through that. Lyra. Remembering the Lyran aspect of you, the Lyran frequency of you, and reclaiming your courage that may have been lost, that lion or tiger, like feline aspect that kind of lost its like, yeah, that whole, what I was talking about, reclaiming your power feels like it's part of a looping experience that is played out in your soul lineage that is wrapping up and completing a cycle. And perhaps, this is the final testing phase for you to not only reclaim your power and stand in your truth and speak it and embody it, but it's also giving you so much more than that. It's like, yeah, completing something that's been playing out for an entire, like a very, very long time. We also had the telepathy card, so you're capable of mental communication. So you might notice an amplification of your telepathy coming online throughout this month. You might want to experiment with that with people that are open-minded or like-minded or closely connected to you. But I would also say to be open to the influx of communication that you might be receiving throughout the month of January. There's, in the world that we live in these days, we don't necessarily need all the technological devices. We have that in our consciousness. So pay attention to your thoughts, and if they feel like they are off the narrative or the script of the thoughts that you may commonly have floating through your consciousness on a daily basis, you might want to like attune into that and kind of go, is that mine? Is that a incoming telepathic message that's wanting me to receive some information or validation? And it may be to help support you through this moment of transition and transformation. Mm. Aboard craft. You've recently been aboard a UFO. Hmm. Have you? I'd love to hear about it. I think immediately, whether that is true for you or not, I think, when we think about being on board craft, it's not quite what it was or known to be in previous generations. A lot of it happens via our consciousness. Sometimes we can be in meditation and bilocate our consciousness onto a different craft or a different planet, different space. But initially, what I feel with that, the message that would be applied from that is you're being helped. Know that you have support and help that's coming through. And to give that an emphasis or, the credit that it's due, knowing that there is benevolence that is supporting you, essentially. If you feel like you need a boost of energy or support or I don't want to use the word protection, but buffering your energetic space to keep you in a place of strength, essentially. Oh, we've got Venus. You've encountered beings from Venus. I feel like this might have some sort of reference to more of a astrological component, like you may be ruled or have a significant part in your astrology chart that is ruled by Venus. Taurus, Taurus sun or rising, perhaps, or moon, like one of those prominent placements. Or you may have Venusian frequency in your soul lineage that is, I think that's a part of you that maybe you've forgotten or misplaced temporarily that wants to be reintegrated within you, is that like harmonious balance, that love, that love frequency. And it's like when you can embody and connect with that frequency, that's where things just take shape, place and shape, and you become almost magnetic in drawing or attracting what it is that you need. So that's what I feel with that card. Just trying to think. We've got Venus in Capricorn at the moment. I know that, but I don't know why I know that, but I just know that. Feels like there may be something more significant that relates to you and your connection to Venus. But it's a supportive, lovely frequency, and I feel like that's what you're kind of moving into. So even just connecting with that frequency itself to help support you. Interesting. Yeah. We've got a few cards here that kind of speak to the storyline that we've got. Upheaval, raw energy, sudden change, action, chaos. Oh, it's the tower. It's the tower. I actually kind of felt like the tower card should have come up in this reading, because there is, to me, it feels like in this sort of energy of this reading is sort of those abrupt, the sudden changes that take place, and they're like a repositioning of where, like a divine intervention, if you will. Like you're here, but we actually need you here. So like that kind of yeah. Sudden expected changes, cart released, yeah, rippling out, surprise. So it's like these two cards really signify that sort of energy that I was feeling taking place, that's kind of getting you to where you need to be. Yeah, okay. Well, this could be around relationships for some of you. Endings and beginnings, perhaps. And the reason I say that is we have the swans, and we have the ring card. So we literally have soulmates, twin flame, faith pairing, blooming, the one, soul connections, partnership, commitment, contracts. So it could be around relationships or significant other, restructuring. That could be in many different ways. But I think the message that I really want to convey around this is that it is getting you to where you need to be. It is not to look at this of like something chaotic or destructive is happening in my life. It's actually, there is this kind of feeling of divine intervention. Yeah, so we've got the tracks, steady forward movement, traveling forward. Yeah, focal point. There we go. That's kind of the energy of like it's redirecting you. So whether it's like moving away from one relationship so you can match the frequency of another, or it could be just the energy of the old relationship God, the words just escaped my head. It could just, it may not necessarily be an abrupt break. It might be you're sitting in the old energy of the old paradigm relationship, and then you're being shaken out of that to be prepared for a new relationship that's coming in. Yeah. Right. A messenger, movement, travel, news, visitor, green light, progress, full steam ahead. And look at this. I'm going to leave it at this. We have the horse charging forward. So there you go. Movement. Isn't that beautiful? And it's got all the colors of the new year that I see, that those vibrant burnt oranges and reds and the sun energy, real solar energy. So this feels like a huge reading for 1 month. It might be already in progress, perhaps, and you're sort of like moving through this change and transformation. But it feels enormous and it feels rewarding and fulfilling. So stick with the changes, seek support if you need. There is a lot of support and benevolence around you, even though you may not feel it always at certain, juncture points of time, but it is all there for you. So connect with me if you'd like. I have a 2026 offering of alignment and activation. All the usual sessions. If you want to connect and have additional support, I would love to connect with you in some capacity. If not, have an amazing January and I'll connect with you next month. All right. Right, let's move into image B, artwork B, if this is the one that you have chosen. This one here. This feels like, once again, if you didn't watch A, I was talking about how the iridescence of the new frequency coming in, you can see that iridescent. And here is like the breaking down of the matrix and being able to be embodied in your own frequency and be able to work well in moving in or operating in two different worlds simultaneously, but holding your baseline frequency of like your true essence and not being unaffected by, being able to basically be an anchor point of light and seeding consciousness. So let's see what this is doing. Feels fresh. It feels new. It feels like, especially with all that green and blue, it feels like, new growth and expansion. Almost when I felt into the energy of this one, I had that kind of giddy feeling, and that excitement of like something new on the horizon, and you may not quite know exactly what it is, but you can feel it. It has that kind of sensation. I can feel it really specifically in my heart, and it feels like bridging worlds, like the inner creation of your like vast inner world that has so much depth to it, so much wealth and depth to it. Feels like it's spilling out into your experience of reality. And like what comes to mind is you may think something or dream something or meditate on something, and then it shows up within 24 hours. That's sort of the feeling. And it's almost like there is an organic or natural technology that you hold within your heart space that is trying to push through and make itself known to you so that you can work with that in your life, essentially. Yeah, it literally has this golden thread of like it looks like a spiral energy. It sits in the center of the heart, or no, it's not the high heart, it's right in the center of the heart. So on a physical level, that could feel uncomfortable or painful. Like you may feel different sensations at times. And obviously caution with this, like if you think there's something wrong, just get assistance. But this is just a pressure, like a pushing, like a, it's energetic. There's something that's like trying to push through to get your attention for you to focus on and bring your awareness in. It's essentially trying to get your attention, to bring your awareness in, to be able to connect with it. And it's like once you do that, the pressure or the sensation or the pain subsides. Mm. The birthing of new reality and creation from the heart-centered space. Mm. Mm. But it feels very unknown too. It's like I don't have specific details of what it is. It's very experiential, and it feels very feeling based. Like I've got to feel my way through this one. I've got to be present in the moment and allow and be in the unfolding of it, and like hold my stance in it, play my part in it, play my role in it. Mm. Just shuffling. Whoop. Goodness. Yeah, we got the High Priestess. Yeah. Okay. Knight of Cups. Five of Wands. Death card. Ooh. Lovers. And the Hermit. Oh, what a combination here. All these major arcana. So we've got 2, 5. Wow. Okay. We're telling a story here. Huge story. Okay. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcanas. So the height. Oh, okay. I have to include that because it landed face up on the floor. We've got the Fool card. Which actually I'm going to start from there because that feels just how I've laid them out in front. Unfortunately, sorry you can't see it, but it feels like just where they might come out in a sequence, but they kind of get rearranged when I'm in the flow of reading. So we're actually going to start with the 0 point energy of the Fool card. You know how I was talking about the green and the growth? Here, he's literally wearing that, but he's got gold connected to it. And he's like holding fire and water. He's got the crocodile, and he's got the tiger. And all these here, or where is it? On this side, these orbs of gold that hold all the signs of the zodiac in. So it holds all the energy of the new cycle itself, which I find quite interesting because it's got the triangle facing upward. Oh, there's even a butterfly, there's a bird, yeah. He's standing over the world, and he's got the sundial over his like groin area. I was talking about the dial in the center of the heart. Feel like I need to move it up. Anyway, but I think that talks to where we hold the creation life force energy, right? In that kind of conscious co-creative space. And the triangle that's facing upward, I feel, is very significant in my frame of reference. Often I talk about people who have what I call the abundance code, where their abundance is represented with their life force energy in symbols. And often it's in triangles, but obviously, I've been talking about triangles becoming diamonds. Often what happens is people's, just by being in this reality, our energy field becomes scrambled, and what should be in its organic state flips into an inverted state. So we're kind of giving away energy or not utilizing our full potential because of just being in this matrix system. Our energy has been flipped into reversal unbeknownst to us. And then we wonder why things don't sort of get off the ground or, work in the ways that we want to. The reason I say that's significant is it's upward pointing. So it's like his life force energy, his co-creative energy that he holds and resides within him is connected to his consciousness and divinity. And so he holds the elements in his hand. He holds this life force and creation energy, and it's incredibly powerful. So the embarking on this new cycle may have drawn you recently or over the past year or so into a more insular, contemplative, refining time. So we've got that, kind of reading it backwards. We've got the Hermit. And so this is like coming into the embodiment of the wisdom and allowing the internal light to reflect on refining yourself inwardly, less out in the physical world, but like cultivating from within to prepare for this new cycle. So what really highlights to me is there's this underworld. You probably can't see it, but there's like this apparition of like sort of this thing, like it's like being able to slay the inner demons or dragons or whatever it is. And oh, it's a three-headed beast. Right, okay. And then, yeah, interesting. And then we've got the sign here of Virgo. Yeah, I think it's Virgo. We've got the sun or the solar energy in that diamond shape again. It's everywhere. Look at it reflecting so much. And then we've got the cosmic egg up the top here with the snake. So it's like the universal governance that's overseeing this process. Yeah, it's the sign of Virgo. So that may have some sort of significance in your chart potentially. Or it may just be the wisdom of the healer, the refining of becoming that virginal state again. Like it's like refining back to clearing the template, so wiping it clean. And look, obviously he's graying too, the wisdom, the grey beard, the grey hair. He's got his staff with him, and the words that I want to use is being illuminated from within. So it may have been necessary or required to, if you have had that hermiting away time, to get that wisdom of divine knowledge and inspiration to know your internal navigation of when you're embarking on this new cycle of how to embody that, how to embrace that, how to walk in the new. Because to me, it really feels like the first couple of months of this year is learning how to operate and walk in a new space and reality, being in a timeless space that is a new representation of something that your mind perhaps can't make. The synapses in the brain can't quite correlate or understand because you're walking in a totally new, it's like a child learning to walk, but in an adult form, an expression learning how to operate in a new version of reality itself, where it's like navigating the unseen realms or the things that may have haunted you from the past, but they're not, you're illuminating light onto that. They're not actually in your face. They are dropping away, giving yourself the place or space of preparation. Because it really is this, so we've got the Five of Wands here. So we've got the bird heads here. We've got the wings. We've got the fire behind it. We've got the sign of Leo. And I want to check what the other, yeah, Leo and this to me, this energy feels like frustration energy. Like things aren't moving or things haven't been moving in the physical world to catch up to your awareness. quickly, but it's like laying the foundations. Saturn. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Um, so it's like the internal struggle or battle. I'll show you that again. It's like the higher, this to me represents the higher order and the restructuring that's taking place, but it feels like the embodiment of perhaps what has been up until this point has been quite frustrating for you to kind of get things in motion. It's like there's been um this crossover like barricade of like being able to see outside beyond your you know immediate reality, but not being able to like touch it or taste it. It's like there's a threshold there that you're internally alchemizing to be able to move beyond, which comes into the death card. um Going through this metamorphosis of the death of the old self and the rebirthing of a new. What have we got in here? Got three orbs. No, four spheres and orbs. Interesting in here, there's a scorpion, a literal scorpion. We've got orbs in that staff. We've obviously got the skeletal overlay on the, sorry, not staff, the sword. But there's a etheric overlay on this, like Grim Reaper, I guess. But it's interesting, through his hands there is a DNA strand helix. So it's like the metaphorical death is a necessary process to upgrade oh, it's wow, to upgrade the DNA and the biological system. So it's like, yeah, it's interesting because around that sword, there's these streams of new light and like higher dimensional coding that's coming in. It's funny, they almost look like sperm and egg, like fertilization. Um, Man, that's quite, I've never seen that. And there's a spark of, so it's like, yeah, the death and then the sparking of life force. I don't know if you can see all that. There's so much symbology in all that. But it's like, yeah, this process of honoring the reshaping and the nature of self and reality is a necessary part. So it's like a bit like I was talking about in the energy update, you may have like been swept into like knowing your trajectory, knowing where you're heading, and then it's like, well, hold up, all this stuff has to like transpire before then. But it's so then we've got the Knight of Cups and we've got the High Priestess and the Lover's card. So it's like the journey of where you're evolving into essentially, and this feels like the rebirth, more of the rebirth energy. So the Knight of Cups here is depicted with the peacock. The peacock to me represents the ascended being, or yeah, the evolved or the ascended being in physicality. So it's a full transformation and metamorphosis. We've got the white horse, so that we're moving into the horse here, and the victory, the trophy, the like the what's in there? Is it it is. It's a crab. um, it doesn't necessarily have the symbol of Cancer, but there is a crab in the chalice that he's holding up, and it feels like a kind of victory. And immediately, what comes to mind for me is like we're coming into a Cancer new moon, sorry, full moon in a couple of days. I think it's around the 4th or 5th of January. So that may be a significant time for you in this rebirthing process. You may get some sort of aha or visitation or embodiment code. And I can't help to look at the peacock as that. I see, yeah, the peacock is the embodiment of the ascended version of self. And this feels like a masculine energy, or your masculine energy kind of receiving, what's the word, reticence? I don't know, that word reticence keeps coming into my head and I don't even know the meaning of it. the masculine embodiment of the taking charge, moving forward, the physicality of it all feels like it's like a spark of light kind of activating within. And that's not gender specific, that's like individual based of the masculine energy being able to like spark and move forward and take charge, and a balancing of masculine and feminine. Because then we've got the high priestess, and wow, we've got all these geometry shape kind of pyramid, triangular, octagonal, diamond shape. We've got a very Egyptian here. We've got the camel. We've got palm trees. And she's very, I mean, Isis, essentially, the divine feminine embodiment. And what was really like the colors, right? The colors of, oh, and I almost see the peacock over here, and over here the netting. It's like the embodiment codes of that frequency coming into play and transforming reality itself and having that connection to the higher power. It's like he's putting up the chalice here in victory, but she's wearing it. She's embodying it. I mean, it's different, but to me, it looks like you can see what. Can you see what I'm seeing here? It's like, oh, hang on. It's the same shape. It's the same, yeah. So to me, it talks about this masculine and feminine embodiment, and it's like your masculine aspect's been waiting for this spark of creation to come back in, to come back, as I was saying, into this full circle creational energy that gives everything, that holds everything. Ah, I feel there's like a weary energy to this. Like I feel like I'm out of breath. It's like there may have been fighting or battling multi-dimensionally to get to this point. May not necessarily be represented in the physical reality of your experience, but energetically it feels like a little bit battered and bruised. Interesting. Oh. Interesting. You've got future life contactee, and you've been encountered by, and I can't even pronounce, I'm not even going to try, it starts with A. But essentially, the beings, they are avatar beings. They're not called that. They're called Apollo Nina. Apollonina, I think. Wow, this has a totally different frequency thread overlay. So straight away, like future life contactee feels like you're being prepped or primed for some sort of contactee experience in the future, not necessarily future life, but a future version of yourself coming to speak or communicate with you. And it could be look like a being from Avatar. You might have an association with Avatar itself as like a strong affinity with beings that look like that, or the color of those beings. But it just straight away, it's like you're being prepped or primed to have this contact experience, whether it's an external being or a future version of yourself, to be the messenger. And it feels like it comes from otherworldly, but it, sorry about that. My dog covering up her walls. It, like I'm instantly transported into like the original Avatar movie in that really pristine, beautiful forest area. And it's like coming back to the origins of the pristine version of Earth. It's like you get to integrate that version of yourself to know what's possible and where the future of humanity is moving to, and your role essentially in that. And then we've got share your experience in technology. Share your experience, your perspective is valuable, and technology. We witnessed or used ET. You've witnessed or used ET technology. Mm. This has very hang on, I've got those two there. This has a thread of wrapping up some sort of contracts with grey ETs or maybe not so benevolent ET experiences, my lab, or this feels multi-dimensional to me. It feels like you've been utilized in certain programs, or at least your consciousness has. But it's your future version that's coming to have an encounter with you. There we go. That is bringing you this information. It's like that. I almost want to say that is the version of you that has been utilized in some of these. It's very non-linear, like time, space, continuum, time travel, back and forth, kind of. It's almost like that part of you has been, yeah, utilized, so you haven't had the full depth of connection to the superhuman abilities or parts of you, the wiser, higher consciousness parts of you. You've been almost dormant for in contrast or comparison to where you're heading through this process of death and rebirth. You may have had glimpses of it, but it's like I feel like that comes into real full effect and play sort of January, February onwards. It's like there is a release of an aspect of you from multi-dimensional programs that have, like, let's say your future self that has these abilities to do miraculous things. I don't know what that is. Manifestation, creation, like skill sets, like, I don't know, mathematician, quantum physics. I don't know. I'm just seeing like numbers and letters and very sort of like things beyond my own level of comprehension. But it feels very holographic in nature, like almost like Avenger. I don't watch those movies. Maybe I should, like superhero kind of. It's like that you get the super powers back of your superhuman aspect that integrates back in, and that's what sets you free, essentially. Changes the nature of your reality. Oof, yeah. And it's timed in a divine timing that you have set or preordained, essentially. Interesting. We've got the moose. Powerful, independent, time alone. Attitude is everything. Calm, cool, collected, confident. Solidarity. Like being solid in yourself. That's what is essentially going on here. I'm going to sum it up. We got cross, so destiny, spirituality, divine guidance, trial, sorrow, emotional loss, conviction, crisis, and fate. It's the tipping point of the crisis into destiny. In fact, fate, you know, the resurrection type energy, death and rebirth. We've got letter, so writing, communication, email, mail, notes, records, news, memo, making contracts. This feels like writing documents. This feels like whether it's like literal physical documents or, you know, writing a new contract of your life's destiny. like being able to break one cycle and like going, no, this is how I rewrite my next phase. Yeah, new beginnings, fresh, setting goals, intention. Okay, coming alive, growth, surprise, increased excitement, rejuvenation, fertile new cycle. Yes. And so spring into action. Yeah. This is some powerful energy and potent stuff coming through. So we've got the springtime here. So that's obviously Northern Hemisphere. Where I feel like, you know, I was talking about that sort of 2 to 3 month window period. Obviously, it's not going to be spring here; it'll be autumn. But I feel like it's that sort of time frame of all this sort of taking place. So I'm going to wrap that up. I feel like that's a big story, a big narrative, a lot of information, yet precision, and a lot to digest. But I don't think I brought that finality part of it in. I may have mentioned it briefly, but we have the Lovers card here too. And even though this particular reading isn't around the nature of relationships, I think that is awaiting you in some capacity. We've got the Gemini symbol here. We've got the Cupid. We've got the Chalice, the Cup. We've got the Infinity or the double Infinity interwoven. That merging and matching of masculine and feminine. We've got the Lion and the Eagle and the wings. We also have the Cosmic Egg being protected by the snake or the activation of the Kundalini awakening energy. This might be something that you're in preparation for. I'm going to leave that there. So if you feel that you need support or you would like to connect with me, all the details will be in the description box. If not, I look forward to seeing you next month. And thank you so much for being here. Let's go into Lucky Last artwork C. So if you've chosen this one here, this feels different to the other two, although they have all been the other two have been quite unique and different. But this, even just as its visual representation, feels a little bit different. I'm just going to tune into the energies of C just to feel like what am I feeling or sensing or witnessing in this? Just as I picked it up, I felt like a merging of soul integration, like what I have been talking about with the soul walk-in upgrade process. There feels like there's been some sort of merging, morphing, kind of moving into higher consciousness, coming into the embodiment phase. Feels like that's been a slow ongoing process for you anyway. But there's this feeling of neutrality as well. It's like I don't want to say nothingness, but it's neutral. It's not maybe even considered a little bit of a void space or an in-between. It's like maybe not a lot is happening in the physical reality, but there's a lot happening in the energetics. That is like you're being prepared. It's preparing you for a state change, just a change of being, state change. A morphing. It's an important time for you is what I'm getting. It's really important, even though you may not understand the significance or the importance of it right now, you will. Like, I feel like you'll look back at this time and go, wow, that was actually like a huge pivotal turning point for me. My soul's journey. Yeah, there's a real feeling of like, it may not feel so significant right now, but you'll look back and go, oh, wow. It may be the insights or the guidance or the understanding that comes later, because it feels like there's a sequence of events or experiences that you're undertaking right now that could be happening in meditation or dream space. All right. Interesting. And there's a reminder to look up through all of this, to look towards the light or to look towards the higher self, to look towards divinity. So we've had the Tower card come up and out first cab off the rank. So we've I'll show it in a second once I finish shuffling, but we have this tower sort of being torn down in a very strategic way, and we've got like mouth breathing fire dragons, snakes, and all-seeing eyes, and it feels like the eye of God, so to speak, as a metaphor, kind of overseeing this process of destruction, but necessary. This doesn't feel like it is super active right now. It could be what I was talking about in the etheric or the energetic space that may feel uncomfortable, and you may not be able to put your finger on why that is. This feels more of a collective mission-based tearing down stuff than what's personalized, but you may be getting insights into this through your own experience, but not directly impacted, I don't feel. Five of Cups. Yeah, so there's sadness and sorrow there. It could be a reflective time for you to take stock or note of what has been. Learning from past lessons and integration. It's like as the soul integration comes more online and on board, it might be going through like a life review phase or stage. Wow. Yeah, it feels like an emotional time. I've got 2 5s here. I've got 5 of Pentacles, 5 of Cups. So reflecting on, yeah, finances, strategy, business, work projects, influential people that have been in your life. Previous relationships that maybe didn't work out the way you hoped or planned. This really feels like taking stock. I'm taking stock. I'm reflecting on my life right now. That's why I feel like not a lot is happening in the external world. It's all an internal reflection of inventories, life review inventory. This feels important. I've got the Lovers card and the Emperor card, so I feel like that's the energy of unification and returning to a state of power and presence as this phase of wrap up or culmination or completion takes place. Got the sign of testing me, Scorpio and Venus, Taurus and Saturn. And we've got the double 5, so that says to me great changes upon you right now, whether you like it or not. And as I said, I feel like there's a lot, you could be experiencing a lot of energetic bleed through a wrap up of other timelines and realities, and that's where that reflective piece may come into play. It's like you may be reflecting on people from the past or experiences from the past that those timelines are closing out rapidly, like collapsing. That to me kind of is indicative of the Tower that came out first. It feels like lots of timelines completing and wrapping up and being disintegrated. And there's like this overarching oversoul monadic energy that's trying to integrate with you, that's creating that flow on effect, that ripple effect. So in your emotions and mental space, you are going through this evaluation process, and maybe it's an emotional, and that I think is serving you well, to feel the feelings and the input or the information that has come with this over the time, that has shaped you essentially into who you are. So we've got these cards here. And this feels like a sort of a poetic phase in your life of wrap up, because we've got the Lovers card and we've got the Emperor. The Emperor has a lot of Aries energy and symbology in here. We've got like the goat. No, it's Capricorn. The ram. Sorry, ram, lamb. Two phoenixes together. But he feels like he's taken back his power, his reign, his rightful place. And this feels really important. This feels like a person of influence or power coming into your life, or you're coming into that yourself, or both. And we also had the Lovers card, and that feels like it's like to enter into this phase of unity and masculine feminine balance, or new pathway in relationships, relationship with self or other. It's like, yeah, this is all taking place and in progress and being set up for you in profound ways that you don't necessarily understand right now. And like, what highlights to me in just this spread here is like the Aries energy. So coming into, you're being prepared to enter into Aries season. So you've got a couple of months of preparation and moving through, navigating through this, and make the most of this time, because it feels like whatever you're yearning for or sad about, or I don't know, whatever is taxing or tolling on your emotional or mental space, of like, you know, that feeling of like yearning for something and not having it, and then it's like a waste of, it feels to me like it's almost like a wasted space or energy, because it's like you're moving into that. That's why you're going through this. So having that higher perspective and knowledge of like you're being cleared out, emptied out. And sometimes we have to go through that void space of not a lot happening, or going into like a solitary space, because when there's so much timeline collapsing that's happening multidimensionally, it's like our human has to kind of be still and inward and reflective, so that reality can catch up, you know? Like if we make too much forward momentum movement while there's all this collapse happening, it's like we're not unifying and then stepping forward. We're kind of still moving forward in a fragmented frequency, and that's not going to be allowed. So it's like, be patient with yourself through this phase of time and navigating. And there's a lot that you can do in that space, you know. So don't feel the frustration of it. Like, work with it. Don't work against it. Work with it. Let's share your experience. Your perspective is valuable. So you might be documenting things, writing them down, journaling, writing a book, writing stories, podcasting, making new connections and friends, like-minded, similar experiences, meeting or connecting with community members or a particular individual, knowing that you have a unique perspective that is a piece of a broader, can't get the words out quick enough. You have a unique perspective and piece of the puzzle that fits into a bigger narrative that other people have the other pieces of, and that coming or co-joining, coming together in some capacity. That feels important. Arcturus, remember. You've encountered or you're about to encounter beings from Arcturus. So you must be a healer of some capacity. You must have quite a significant frequency. Remember, aspects of your contact are coming to light. This is a huge, profound time of remembrance for you. For me personally, the reconnecting with the Arcturian frequency was like the biggest change point of my entire life, and I didn't realize it at the time. I was just walking and living through it, and like looking back, it was like, oh my god, my life was never the same again. But the Arcturian frequency is very like healing based technologies, so that might be specific for you now or in the future. It might be time that you're retrieving memory, perhaps. That's kind of what I was edging towards. Group experience. You've shared an experience with others, so there has been parts of your consciousness multidimensionally that you've had experiences with higher beings, higher dimensional beings, aspects of yourself, and that's starting to come into the forefront of your mind and reality for a purpose, for a reason. It's important now for where you're headed or moving into. Yeah, your psychic abilities, your perceptive abilities, I want to say your claircognitive abilities, your sense of knowing is sharpening and getting stronger. Don't mistrust that. Don't put that aside, or don't dismiss that. Don't dismiss that at all. Ooh. Wow. So we have the lion and we have the road. It's kind of just echoing or reaffirming some of the information that has come through. Fair, just, devoted, majestic, high self-esteem, an authority figure. So talking about like coming into contact with an authority figure, or you stepping in to a position of being an authority figure. This feels like fatherhood almost for some. Overcoming difficulties, being heart-centered, just being in that magnificent presence. And then we've got crossroads, journey, multiple choices. So that's the timeline thing. Weighing up decisions, free will, opportunity, road trip. So there's a freedom, there's an expansion, there's a new direction or trajectory being shown to you or opening up. Let's just... Oof. We have the dog card. Aww. I don't know, my heart just opens when I see that. I think of my beloved babies. And the presence of their frequency that's still in my life and is only going to become more tangible as we move into this new reality. You know, the unseen morphing with the seen and creating that space together. But this specifically talks about supportive friend. And maybe there's a message in there for you. Maybe you have a loved one, whether it's, human or third animal companion that's perhaps gone through the physical transformation of the ascension process, but is very much an active part of your life waiting for you on the other side of this shift. Supportive friend, helpful, playful, faithful companion, a friend that turns into love, or a friendship that turns into love, soulmate, peer, and then we've got pet, vet, doctor, nurse. So multiple take it as what resonates. Might be even coming into a new companion, friend, or just having the presence, knowing the presence is there. Or it could be, yeah, a friendship that is being reconnected at this time that grows into something more than that. Ooh, interesting. So we've got Archer. Careful aim, on target, focus, matchmaker, quick direct, go to a guy or a girl, shooting straight, implementing a strategy. It might be, yeah. Something new coming in. We've got Sagittarius, fire sign. Within 14 to 13 days. So it's the Temperance, Prince of Fire. This feels to me like something unexpected is going to happen. Something very unexpected is going to happen. So we have ball and chain here. Heavy, weighed down, codependency, trapped, restriction, addiction, unhappy union or marriage, emotional baggage. This may be part of the reflection piece I was talking about earlier. You may have had an unhappy relationship or marriage. You might be still in it. You might have the energy of that. That feels like it's being, the band-aid's being ripped off, or it could be, take it as it sits. This could be the energy of the old relationship paradigm that you're disentangling yourself from, to kind of reset that structure and aim of and that's what feels unexpected. It feels like connection-based, relationship-based. Oh my God, we've got the ring, agreement, pact, cycle, trust, alliance, partnership. And this, yeah, interesting. Completion. Ooh. So we've got the sun, powerful energy, climax, fulfilled, pride. This feels like it's like, yeah, this is this whole success, divine masculine, happy, warm, transformative energy that's sort of coming in, that influential I was talking about in the Aries, that potent. And we've got the stork, transformation, change, renewal, arrival, departure, move, renovate, pregnancy, birth. Could be an unexpected arrival of a new soul in some capacity, whether it's animal form or pregnancy. Feels like there's a lot in this. There's so much in this. And that may not be you, like you specifically. This could be like you hear of that news of someone connected to you or close to you. It doesn't have to be like your direct experience. But there's a lot in the mix here. It's like a lot of quick and fast and like getting you up to speed. Your reflection piece of, I mean, there's lots of possibilities. Take it as it feels in your own intuition as this information energy lands and what's important to you. Let's get one last card. Snowflake, perfect, delicate, coded, fragile, pattern, symmetry, precise, handle carefully, crystalline, unique design, exquisite and detailed. I think that is perfect to summarize. I feel like this is the restructuring of you internally, your timeline, your biology, the nature of your reality. And it's a very delicate phase and process that you're undergoing. So to honor that for what it is and what you need as you move through this. So If you would like to connect with me, I'm going to leave it there. If you'd like to connect with me for additional support, the details will be in the description box below. If not, I look forward to seeing and connecting with you in the comment section or the next video. And thank you so much for being here. Sending much love your way, and I will connect with you soon. And happy January, everyone.